Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 11 of Lavender Cottage Fibre Arts podcast. I'm Pia and this is
Anna,
and we're sisters from Melbourne or Naarm in Victoria, Australia, and this is our podcast where we chat about things relating to fibre arts and some other arts and crafts and sort of creative pursuits that we engage in. So welcome back if you've been with us before, or thank you for joining us if this is your first time tuning into one of our podcasts. Before we get started with the podcast, we'd just like to acknowledge that we are recording this podcast on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, as well as any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who might be watching this podcast. So welcome to another episode. We hope that you enjoyed like a nice Christmas and New Year, because it will be New Year by the time we upload.
We're actually recording this on the 31st of December, but it will be early Jan by the time it goes up. So hoping everyone got a bit of time for some crafting over the holiday period, whether or not you celebrate Christmas. At least most people in Australia get a little bit of time off over this period. So hopefully you got a chance to unwind and do a bit of crafting and just spend time with friends. And
I think I'm going to sneeze.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'll see if I can cut that out. I'm not very good at editing videos, but hopefully I can cut that out. And Juliet's in the background doing her own thing as well. I think
that's Juliet the greyhound.
She wanted to be
included in the podcast.
So if
she might make an appearance.
Yeah,
she does like sort of climbing on top of people when they're sitting on the couch. So.
Yes, and she's not that great at like the concept of personal space. I feel
so she might make an appearance later.
But yeah, hopefully everyone had a nice break and sort of starting 2024 fresh and ready to do some crafting. I guess before we go into our regular segments of the podcast, I'll just do like a what I'm wearing, because I'm wearing something. It's an FO, but I haven't worn it for. I think I showed it in our previous episode, but I didn't wear it because I was wearing another Ghost Whisperer. So this is one of my Ghost Whisperers that I finished, which is a pattern by Park Williams, who's Park and Knit on Instagram. And yeah, this is her Ghost Whisperer top, and I knit this one with some Kidsilk mohair from Woolen Works, which is a Melbourne-based indie dyer, and this is her Neon Lights colourway. So yeah, I think I've put photos of it on my Instagram, and I think I showed it on our last episode, but I just haven't worn it yet. I just thought it was like a fun top to wear for New Year's Eve. Because like it's, I don't know, it kind of reminds me, I guess like it is called Neon Lights, it kind of in a way reminds me of like fireworks just like colourful fun stuff. So yeah, so I think now we'll just jump into our regular podcast segments. Okay, so this is our first section, which we call Hot Off the Hooks, or depending on what we've been doing, hot off the needles, hot out of the kiln. Just recently finished recently finished objects that we've been working on. So do you want to go first?
So I have been quite slack in terms of my fibre arts crafting as of late, but I have been doing quite a bit of pottery, because I think I've mentioned before I have like a bit of a home pottery studio set up in my garage, and I also have been going to some classes as well. So a couple of the things that have been finished recently, I think I showed in a recent one that I had made some little like steak with like little flower things on them as like garden decorations.
You had that in our last episode, yeah.
But then the other sort of garden related thing that I made some of to have in my own garden, but then also like I thought they would be nice like Christmas gifts, that I made some like ceramic herb labels in all different colours for all different herbs. So yeah, we'll probably the ones that I have here are like in the garden, so I didn't want to pull them out because they'll be like have a bit of like dirt on them and stuff. I didn't really want to like be showing them here with dirt on them when they've got all these like nice, surrounded by like nice knitted, hand knitted things.
We can take some
we
photos.
can put some photos in, yeah. I'll put some photos
and
in.
You gave some to Mum as well, didn't you, as a Christmas, because she's got a few herbs.
I thought she had more, but I mean, she's constantly raiding my herb garden, so I don't think she...
Yeah, no, she has, I think, a couple of herbs. And I mean, I guess if you give someone a herb label,
then they
for a herb they don't have, they can always
plant that herb.
Yeah, plant some. And then you gave me a very nice ceramic Christmas gift as well.
Which was, I think I've shown in a previous episode, the like window decoration that I made for my kitchen window.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
And so I made one for Anita that was like sunflowers and daisies was kind of the theme of it. So it's just like a hanging, kind of like a mobile, but I guess it's more to go like on a wall or a window rather than to kind of spin around.
So I stuck it on my bedroom window. So I'll put a photo. It's hard to take a photo though because I feel like the camera wants
to focus on what's behind the window. Yeah.
So, but I think I did get a decent one.
I wonder if it would be easier to take a photo at night. When it's dark outside.
Maybe.
I mean, you can try, but then the flash will probably just like really
reflect off
against
the window. But I think I got an okay one of it. And I just...
Oh, I think I can probably find that photo. I think I took a photo of it, like just hanging on a wall.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Just to show what it looks like, I guess. Yep. But yeah.
Cool. So that's all you wanted to talk about for...
I think so, I think that's kind of all I've achieved.
Hot off the kiln. All right, so I've got a few things. I think I've got one or two things for myself, and then all the other stuff was Christmas gifts. So I was being a bit sort of industrious, just trying to get things...
But obviously, because we're filming this post-Christmas, all the gifts have been given, so it's not ruining the surprise.
No, and I've just sort of borrowed them back
for the video.
For the video. So, but this first one, this is for myself. And this has been a whip for a very long time. I will wear it in a future episode. It's just too hot at the moment in Australia. It's not even that hot today, but this is a Aran weight. So I think it's just need to wait for a cold day to be able to wear it. So this is the Highland Slipover by Ozetta Knitwear.
And this is your version 2.0, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is the second time I knit this in the same yarn. The first time I knit it, I knit the large size and it was just gigantic. So I just frogged it and re-knit it in the size medium. I actually haven't blocked it yet, so it might actually get a little bit bigger because it is a superwash yarn. The yarn is from Aimée, their Merino Aran base in the colourway Calliope, and I'll just hold it up, I guess, so you can see the whole garment. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, how it turned out. I did, it has like a tubular bind off and like a folded ribbed collar for the neckline, so the neck is like very warm because it's double layer. And then the sleeves and the hem at the bottom, it also does the tubular bind off, but it's not a folded, but it just gives the effect that the ribbing kind of just disappear, like kind of reminds me of like those infinity swimming pools that it just kind of like I don't know, like it disappears over the edge, and it's quite a stretchy bind off, so I think it's good for what was going to say, garments that you want a little bit of stretch. Oh, and actually, sorry, I'm making that up. This doesn't have a tubular bind off the neckline because it's folded. You just you sew it down to the inside of the neckline. But it also, I guess, has the same effect, but this is because it literally is folding over. So yeah, very happy with how it turned out. Just a shame that I didn't get it finished in time to be able to wear it this year, but I'll obviously get some good wear out of it next year.
Or this year, because
the 2024. Yeah. But I guess the only other thing to say about this one is I did do helical knitting for all of it, including for the ribbing and stuff. The only place where I didn't do helical knitting was just this patch here on the back, which is where you do the short row shaping. I just couldn't figure out how to do alternate skeins on the short rows, and I guess the other bits where the back and the front are knitted flat, like before you join under the arms, I guess they're not helical, like I was alternating there every 2, because it's knitted flat, so I was alternating skeins every 2 rows, but the rest of the body was knit with alternating skeins every round, just I guess if people are interested in how this particular colourway has kind of worked up. So that's that one, the Highland Slipover by Ozetta Knitwear. And then I think the rest of my FOs are all socks. So I had a goal to knit a pair of socks for each member of my family for Christmas, and I more or less achieved that. Just my brother and his partner, I gave them like a voucher for a hand knit pair of socks, just because I didn't get their foot measurements in time to be able to make them a pair of socks in time for Christmas. And these ones, I've put them all on blockers, but I actually haven't blocked any of them yet either. So I will be blocking them post-Christmas, I guess. So these are the ones for my dad. I did these using another one of the Schoppel crazy Zauberballs in the Stärke 6, which is like a sport weight yarn. So it's a slightly thicker than a fingering weight sock. And this colorway is called, I think in German it's called Der Lenz ist da, and then in English they call it Spring is here. So that's that one. And I actually also made, with the leftovers, I made a little pair of socks in this same yarn for my nephew, but I forgot to take a photo of the ones that I gave the baby socks. And this is just like a vanilla sock recipe, but I will link the pattern that I used for the baby socks was a different pattern. I can't remember off the top of my head the designer's name, but it's a free pattern on Ravelry just called Stretchy Baby Socks. And I think just for babies, it's easier to do like the entire sock as like a ribbed sock because it makes it really stretchy. So I think for dressing babies, it's easier to get things on and off if they're stretchy. Yeah, so that was my dad's. These ones, they're Pia's Christmas present. So these are, again, just a vanilla sock. And for all of these, I think all of my socks I basically do I just find 2x2 ribbing for the cuff is the look that I personally prefer. And I think I did 20 rounds of ribbing for the cuff and then about 60 rounds for the leg. Yeah, it's just like a standard sock. On the Zauberballs, I've been doing an Afterthought heel, but for the rest of the socks that I'm showing, I do a Fish Lips Kiss heel, which is a type of short row heel. So this one, my main colour is from Maximoo, who is indie dye based on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria, Australia. And this colourway, he has called it Pot of Gold, I guess because it's like a rainbow.
My cup, like
oh yeah, you could drink some tea and wear the
that
socks.
Was a coincidence. That wasn't planned.
And then the contrast was just a mini that I got from the Yarn Club from Rainbows and Sprinkles, who is a West Australian based dyer. And Pia requested that she wanted the contrast just for her cuff and toe. You
mean heel and toe?
Heel and toe, sorry. She didn't want the contrast on the cuff. So yeah, that's what I did. With these, I did actually have a little bit of issues with the colour pooling changing on the two socks, and I think it was because my tension was changing. So I kind of decided, because the second sock, I think I had to knit it twice to get the sort of similar pooling. So I actually decided that I think I wanted to have a go at learning to knit socks 2 at a time. So I will show you the results of that in a second. Yep. Here, my assistant can redo the thingies, put new socks on the blocker. So this sock, actually, I think I showed this in our last episode as a whip. These ones I finished off, but these are just for myself. This one, the mini is from Melbourne City Dye Works, and it was just from a bundle of minis, so I don't think the colourway actually had a name. And the main colour on this one, I'll just bring it a little bit closer to the camera so you can see it, is from Regia. So it's a commercial yarn, and it's called, I think the number was 4067, and they call it Indian Night as the colorway. And this one, again, I have noticed, I don't know, I haven't had this problem before, but it's only been in the last couple of months. I think when I tried the socks on, it was pre-blocking, so I think when I block it, I should be able to sort of even it out. One of the socks looked like about a centimetre longer than the other. And I thought, oh, did I accidentally do a different number of rounds in the leg? And I counted them and I didn't. So it's just a tension thing. So I think like going forward, I just think for me, maybe just doing them 2 at a time is just better. I do know that if I'm walking or if I'm knitting in the dark, like my tension gets looser. So like if I'm knitting in the car and it's dark and I can't see,
or I suppose on the train they have lights.
Yeah, but yeah, I've just noticed that about myself. So I think that maybe some of these I knit some of it in the dark or something. But I think I can sort of fix it with blocking. So for the next pair of socks, which is the last ones I have to show, these are my mum's Christmas socks, and yeah, I decided to knit these 2 at a time. I did start using just a long circular needle, and I found that it was very cumbersome. So then I switched to using 2 shorter circulars, which I found much easier. But what I didn't like about that, using the 2 circulars, was I was using a Chalgu fixed circular, and the cables for those are a bit thicker than the mini cables in their interchangeable sets. And I think because the cable was a bit thicker, I was getting a bit of laddering. So I switched back to just using a long circular, but I actually made it out of my interchangeables instead of using a fixed circular. And I found that that was a lot better. So I think if I do like this 2 at a time method, what I might actually do is just buy 2 sets of tips and 2 of their mini cables to make 2 short circular needles that have that really thin cable that the mini cables have in their interchangeable sets. I think that would be the best for me, because it is a bit of a faff to kind of like keep pulling the cable through for the 2 at a time on just one long circular. But anyway, here is the results of my mum's socks. So again, just 20 rounds for the cuff, 2x2 ribbing. The main colour for this is from Manos del Uruguay, and the colourway is called Mojito. And the contrast that I used was from an Etsy seller who's UK based, and it was from a bundle of minis that I got, so it doesn't have a name, but it actually matches like some of the teal flecks in the Mojito quite well, I feel. And that one was from a seller called Cheshire Hand Dyed. I did actually run out of the mini when I was knitting the toes.
Sorry, there was just like a loud bang. That was like from the wind. Sorry. Sorry, it gave me a bit of a fright. It might have come up in the video. I don't know if it would be hurt, if the microphone would have picked up. But anyway. Oh yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like a door slamming.
Yeah. Like so I ran out of the mini for the very last bit of the toe, but I asked my mum, because like they're for her for Christmas, if she wanted me, I said I could either rip it out and do all of the toe in the main colour, or I could rip it out and do like more and just have the very tip of the toe in the contrast, or I could do it like this. And she said, just leave it, because it's going to be in my shoe anyway. So she was happy with that. So I guess I'm happy with that. So I think that's all my FOs. So I just have to then update for our project Yarnathon. So since our last episode, I have knit 2,086 meters, in total, which takes me up to 21,458 meters, which is exciting because it means that I'm actually just over halfway. So I've knit 50.85% or crochet of a marathon's worth of yarn. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, maybe with a bit of luck, I can finish the marathon by the end of next year. That would be a nice goal to have, I think. Yep. So yeah, I think that's all of our FOs. So I guess now we will move on to chatting about any whips that we've got on the go.
Yep. Now it's time for our Whip It Good section, and so WIP being an acronym for work in progress, which is where we talk about anything that we've got currently on the go at the moment. Did you want to start, or?
Yeah, I can. Yep. I've just got 2
things on your lap.
I have heaps of whips, but these are the ones that I'm kind of working on at the moment. And I do kind of have like a sort of like a not super like concrete goal, but just one thing I guess I would like to do in the new year is kind of work down a little bit the number of whips that I have. So kind of put a bit more focus on things.
Finishing things off rather than starting new ones.
And I think that I'm going to go back to my thingo of only knitting on socks when I'm like on the train and stuff. So not knitting on socks at home. I sort of got rid of that rule for a little while in the lead up to Christmas just to try and like get those gifts finished. But now that that's over, I think I can go back to trying to work on non-sock projects at home. So this whip is a sock though, and so I just started this a couple of days ago. So yeah, this one I am knitting 2 at a time on my long circular needle. But the one that I've made from my interchangeable tips and the mini cable from Chalgu. And this one, it's probably hard to see the colourway in the cuff, so I might just hold up the cake. And for these 2 at a time socks, what I'm doing is basically just pulling one end from the outside of the cake and the other end from the inside. And I've found that it works fine. It does get a bit twisted up, but then every so often I just rotate the cake to untwist it. And if I do that every 5 or 6 rounds, like it never gets like so tangled that
you have to cut
kind
it,
of
or that you have to
unsalvageable.
spend an hour untangling it or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the colour there. This is another one from Maximu, and this in his ultra soft sock base. I think this is the only
VIP customer.
I think I'm sure there's plenty of people that have a lot more yarn from him than I do. That's true. I think the fingering weight yarn that he has, he only has this base now. I think he got rid of another base that he had that didn't have the cashmere in it. So this is his ultra soft sock base, which is, I think it's an 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon blend. So it is really soft, makes very nice socks. And this colorway is called Planet Hunter. So that is that one. And then the other whip that I'm working on at the moment, I won't actually show a photo of my whip, but I will show a photo from the designer's Instagram page, just because it's a test knit that's going to be published in a magazine. So she kind of asked...
it's top secret.
Well, it's not like top secret, because there is a photo of the finished item on her Instagram, but I think she just asked for testers not to share too many photos of their project until it has been published in the magazine. So the designer is called Abby Makes on Instagram. I think it's Abby with an I .makes. And the pattern is called the Edie cardigan, and it's like a baby / toddler kind of pattern. So I'm making it for a friend of ours who just had a baby a couple of weeks before Christmas. And this is the yarn that I'm using. So it's just from Bendigo Woolen Mills. It's their luxury 8-ply, and this colorway is called Lavender. And so I should be able to finish the whole cardigan just out of this one ball, because Bendigo Woolen Mills, I think most of their yarns, they sell them in 200-gram balls, which is pretty good value. So I'm almost finished it. I've knit the body and one sleeve, so I just need to add the second sleeve and then the button band, and then it will be finished. But I will share photos of it on my Instagram eventually, but just need to wait until...
Once the pattern gets published.
Yeah, but I think from the yarn and then the photo, Abby's photos from her Instagram, I think you could probably get a pretty good idea of how it looks. And I am testing the 3 to 6 month size, because I thought our friend's baby, Leah... like come winter time, she'll be getting towards kind of that 6 month, and it is supposed to be a slightly oversized fit, so I thought that will be good as well, that it will probably fit her like a bit
will last
beyond
all through winter kind of thing,
beyond 6 months of age kind of thing. So those are the 2 like main whips that I'm working on, and then once I finish this, I think like I said, I want to get back into working on some other whips that I've had like for a few months that just haven't haven't got any much progress. Yeah. How about you? What are you working on at the moment?
So again, my current whips is mostly ceramics related. So I did start making some bells, which was they'll just be for sort of like garden decorations, I think.
Like sort of like a wind chime kind of thing, but a bell instead. Yeah.
Yes, just like a hanging bell for having in the garden. And the main reason why I chose to do bells is because I wanted to practice throwing like a closed form. So I guess when you think about like if you're making something like a cup on the pottery wheel, you kind of like open, oops, wrong way. You like start with like a ball and then you open it out to make the sides, and then like that's just kind of the cup. Whereas so what I've been doing is practicing that once you've made the sides, that you then close it in at the top to make the bell shape. So the reason why I wanted to practice doing that is because I have given myself like a project or a goal to make a ceramic urn for my dog Sandy, who passed away in March. And that is one method of making something with a lid, is that you basically make like the jar and then you close the top, and then once the clay has kind of firmed up a bit, you actually cut the top off, and then so the top that you cut off becomes the lid. And it's like one way of doing it to make sure that the lid and the jar like fit together, that they're the right size to kind of
do you then
together.
have to cut like some kind of lip for it to sit
Yeah,
on?
yeah,
or,
like
okay.
you'll sort of like carve it in like a little like gallery for the lid
to
sit in. So yeah, I thought that would just be a good kind of skill to try and master. So yeah, I've been doing those bells. I have to wait till like the place where I take my things to get fired is like closed over the Christmas New Year period, so I'll have to wait until they're reopened before I can get things fired. And then the other sort of whip, which is actually like a shared or like a group
Kind of. I don't feel like I really did that much. Like you did all the work.
A joint whip. I just had this random thought that it would be nice to do like a family like craft activity on Christmas Day.
It was fun.
Mum didn't join us though. She failed craft noon college for non-attendance. I think she just said she was like a bit tired, and it was also because we were sitting.
I honestly think Mum would have
outside.
just been like too nervous that she would like not do a good
And I
job.
think we were
Like,
sitting outside, and it was like not very.
I
Cold,
think
so
that's
she was a
why
bit cold as well.
she was not keen on. She didn't want to wreck it.
But yeah, so I made, I think I've shown in a previous episode those like flower tiles that I made, which Mum has previously said that she really liked them and she would like some for their place in Eltham. So I made a whole bunch of different flower themed ones and garden themed ones, with the idea that I would do like the making part of it and then bring them to the Christmas Day lunch and bring my set of underglaze paints, which is like all different colours of like, it's not paint but it's kind of like paint I guess for ceramics, and yeah, that everyone could kind of paint their own tile. And so yeah, we did some painting on Christmas, and so we're just waiting. I'll just wait for the place where I get my things fired to reopen so I can get them fired, and then just because we've painted with like colours and designs, that we'll just get then a coat of like a clear
like a shiny
clear glaze over the top.
No, I'm looking forward to getting them back, I think.
And you did what designs? You did a lavender, sunflowers, and the tulips, didn't you?
Yeah, they're the ones that I sort of like asked, like I think before, I don't know when it was, a few weeks before Christmas, Pia was like, what kinds of flowers like would you like? And I sort of was like, oh, I want a sunflower with butterflies, a tulip with one with ladybirds, and a lavender one with bee. So those were the ones that I asked for.
And then what did I do? I did a one with roses.
Then you did one with echinacea flowers.
Yeah, like a cone flower or echinacea. And then I did two that were more with like a terracotta base with like sort of tropical, like jungle kind of
like
themed.
Like the monstera leaves and stuff, and ferns and stuff.
Yes, because I thought that was, I mean, not that any of it's gendered, but I don't know, I just thought that maybe the leaves ones is a bit more like masculine. I guess that was like for our dad, but
yes.
I think he also didn't want to paint anything, but that's okay. We had fun.
I thought it was a very fun thing to do.
And I did ask Mum, and she said, yeah, it did. I was like, does this give you like nostalgia, like looking at us two, like doing craft together, like if it reminded her of like us during our like childhood? And she was like, yes, like on like summer school holidays or whatever, that we would be doing all this different crafty things.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very fun activity, and like just a nice like chilled out thing to do.
Yeah.
And actually, like for people who are from like Melbourne, will know that like the weather on Christmas Day in Melbourne was pretty average, so it wasn't really like, not that we have a pool in our backyard anyway, but like people who normally like play backyard cricket or go for a swim or whatever, it wasn't
or even to just like go for a walk, like we normally just go for a walk to walk around and look at like
Christmas lights in the neighbourhood and stuff, and it just was not the weather for that on Christmas Day, so it was a good like thing to do undercover. Yeah, it was nice.
It was a fun. I think it's maybe a bit more like accessible and achievable, like ceramics themed activity to do rather than like making things from scratch. It's probably
people just decorate things. Yeah,
and it's. I mean, it's like we obviously did it outside because it was a bit messy, but nowhere near as messy as like actual working with clay. So. It's a bit more portable.
That's it for our whips for the moment?
I think
isn't
so.
it?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so now it's time for the final section of our podcast, which we call Dream Weaving, which is where we talk about any recent purchases, but also any like future plans or projects that we haven't started yet, but that we're thinking about. I don't think we have any purchases to talk about in this section today.
I don't.
We just like to sort of forewarn people if we do, because I know some people, if they're trying to sort of avoid buying stuff, they don't like hearing other people talk about stuff that they've bought.
Yeah.
I did get too many advent calendars, to be honest, and I was showing them on shorts on YouTube and reels on Instagram, like daily unwrapping of my advents. I kind of fell off a little bit from doing that towards the end, just because I guess like the closer you get to Christmas, like
the busier it is.
The busier you are. But I think at least on Instagram I did I think I was uploading it like a day behind to try and not spoil things for people. But I did put the final day where you can see like the entire advents on my Instagram. So that will be linked in our description box, as is, we try to link anything that we talk about, like patterns, yarns, those type of things, Ravelry pages, Instagrams, all of that should be linked in the description box. But I think I won't talk about that today, because we thought that maybe for one of our upcoming knit and chat episodes we might just chat about yarn advents, potentially. And the other thing that we thought...
You'll just be educating me, because I haven't done one.
Oh.
All I know about advent calendars is chocolate.
Chocolate ones. Well, there's so many different, like, I'm pretty sure you can even get, like, I don't know, like, you can get, like, dog treat advent calendars.
Oh,
and, like,
I mean, I think now it's just...
soap advents.
It's just sort of like a marketing kind of
book
thing.
Advents, as if you can read, like, a book a day or
Make
something.
people spend heaps of money for
Or you
Christmas,
got... Didn't someone bought your workplaces, like, a group gift, like that jam advent calendar?
Oh, yes, and we also had a fairy floss advent calendar, which was extremely...
Very random. But the other thing...
But I think people ended up just cheating and like opening every single one to look for the flavours they wanted.
Yeah, I guess if they tell you what flavours but not like what day they'll be on. But the other thing I think we'll have a knit and chat about sometime hopefully soon will be like just any like goals or like overarching plans for 2024, and maybe revisiting. We did write down some knitting goals or like just like crafty goals, I guess, for 2023. I achieved some, but not all. But I think we'll revisit those in a knit and
I
chat.
honestly can't remember what mine were, but I'm not too sure if they were like tangible, like finish this many items.
I think
or
one
if
of them was
learn
to crochet.
No, I haven't done that.
And I think the Alpine stitch blanket maybe you wanted to do.
Oh, to start that, yeah.
And I think you wanted to finish the Hue Shift Afghan. Sorry, I don't want to like just like make you feel bad. Like, it's fine to not achieve your goals. Like I feel like it's like nothing happens if you don't. Like it's just
I suppose
just a nice thing to work towards something. But so for today's dream weaving, what are we talking about? I did write some things down.
Yes.
So for me, actually, the main dream weaving thing I have is actually I would like to do like a yarn no-buy in 2024.
Good idea.
And I think I will kind of allow myself, like if I am working on a particular project and I run out of yarn for that, I would allow myself to buy, like, I think the main thing that I could think of, for example, is some of the blankets that I'm working on. I have purchased some yarn, like just some actually from Bendigo Woolen Mills for the border.
Or like a plain sort of.
And I've sort of tried to calculate how much I would need, but if it ended up not being enough, I would say to purchase one more ball of this so that I can finish the project is okay. And the other thing, I don't want to sort of make too many loopholes because then I think it just becomes like not challenging at all.
No, and but, you just keep making excuses.
Of like, oh, but this doesn't count because of XYZ. And But I think I might also say that I can buy 1 or maybe 2 advent calendars for the end of the year, and then as like a treat for like making it through the year.
But will you say if you break your no buy, you're not allowed?
Yeah, I guess I probably should. And then the other dream weaving, so we've got a few baby birthdays coming up. So our nephew will be turning 1 in January, but also a close friend of mine who I used to work with for many years, her son is also going to be turning 1. So I want to make a few gifts for their birthdays. And what I thought, I have some of this yarn from Bendigo Woolen Mills. So it was like a limited edition yarn that they had called Woodlands, and this colorway is called the River Sand. So it's sort of like an off-white, and hopefully you can see there. I will put a photo up if you can't, but it's kind of like a tweedy yarn, like it's got little flecks of color in it, and it is 83% wool, 10% bamboo, 4% mohair, and 3% neps. So that's the neps are the little coloured, and I think usually they're just like recycled yarn that they use to put the sort of colour in. So I was thinking to maybe make a little jumper for each of the birthdays. And the pattern that I was thinking to use is from Beata Jezik, and she, I think, is the owner of Hedgehog Fibres. All of her patterns are actually free. And this particular jumper she has is called Tweedy Junior. So I think she made like an adult size jumper that's designed to be knit with their Tweedy yarn, but this is like an equivalent because it's an DK weight, and it has the Tweedy effect, I guess. But she made kids, I don't know if it goes down to babies, but sort of like there is a 1 to 2 year old size called Tweedy Junior. And she said she deliberately, it was a bit weird that she said this, but she's like, because my son has a really big head, I deliberately made it with like quite a stretchy neckline. But again, I just thought, not even for a kid that has a big head, but just I think a stretchy neckline is probably easy for dressing
to get on and off,
like a toddler. That's sort of
if they're a bit wiggling
around a little bit. So I thought that would be a nice colorway. The only thing that's giving me pause is that this is not superwash, so it's hand wash only. So I might actually just ask the parents of both prospective jumper recipients if they would be okay to get a jumper that's hand wash only. And if they say no, I will just pick something else. But that's the main sort of project that I have planned sort of in the immediate future. How about you?
I don't know if I have anything like super specific. Like I already mentioned, I think that I want to work on the urn for Sandy, which I feel like a good like timeline for me would be to try and finish it before her 1 year anniversary, which is in early March. So I think that's like, I mean, we'll see, but I think it should be like achievable. Pottery like is not something that you can just kind of churn it out and it's done in a day or whatever, because there's like stages that it has to go through,
like
which
drying and stuff.
For it to dry, and then you have to get it fired. And because I don't have a kiln, like I'm kind of just limited, I guess, to what the place that I take my stuff to for firing, what their schedule is and that kind of thing. So, but so hopefully. And then the other thing is, I think you sent me a screenshot of it the other day, that the Sowry art weaver, weaving studio, it sounds like they're actually relocating like the whole
I don't know if they're like gonna have 2 studios, or because Heather used to live in Melbourne in Box Hill, and then they sort of moved to Kyneton to this farm that I think was like a family farm, I think, that they moved to in Kyneton, and now her workshops are back in Templestowe, which is just a suburb of Melbourne.
Yeah, which I thought it was... Originally, when you sent me the thing that it was like the Saturday workshops in Templestowe, I thought she might have just been doing like a couple of workshops a year, like one a month in Melbourne. But it would be a lot of effort to transport all of the fibres and stuff. So it sounds like maybe their studio is relocating. All that to say, like now that it is, her studio will be in Melbourne, I would like to go to some more of the Sari
yeah, because I mean, as nice as it was to have like sort of a little mini break,
it did
Kyneton's really nice, and
it
like the area
quite expensive
around Kyneton is really nice, like Dalesford and stuff like that. But yeah, it costs a fair bit to do.
Once you factor in all the petrol for driving, accommodation,
and then if you're
having dinner,
eating
out and that sort of thing. So yeah, it will be nice to be able to maybe...
Like I think we could probably go to like 2 of them for the same price that we would have spent on doing one. Yeah, in Kyneton. So yeah. I feel like as well I would like, because like now that I've like knitted a lot of socks and stuff, I've got like a lot of scraps
that you could use some scraps.
I think some of them could look quite cool. That's actually one other goal, I guess, but maybe I can save that for a knit and chat episode, that I would like to get a better system of like organising like scraps. Like at the moment they're just kind of like
jumbled up all together.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's better to organise it probably by weight, but then within that by colour maybe, rather than by dye. I don't know. Anyways, I'll have to
buy fibre, because I guess with the Sari cloth, like it depends, I guess, what purpose you're intending to use the cloth for, but I think thus far all of the things that either of us have woven have just been for kind of decorative purposes only,
so it doesn't really
which
matter.
Doesn't really matter if you're mixing up different fibres. I think Heather said it's only if you are making a garment that you're or cloth that you're intending to sew into a garment, like, that if will need to be washed.
If it's going to get wet, I think that's the issue.
It kind of needs to be, you need to be a bit more careful about your fibre choices, because if things shrink at different rates, and I guess your fabric could end up all
sort of like pinching in or
or puckered or something like that.
Yeah. So,
but that's something that I would like to do.
Nice. Cool. So I think that's probably about it for this episode. So yeah, thank you for joining us. And yeah, if you clicked on this episode and you've never seen one of our videos before, we would love it if you subscribe to our channel if you're interested in keeping up with our sort of making adventures.
Yes.
If you did like the video, if you give it a thumbs up, that just helps other people on YouTube find our video. And of course, anytime you have any questions about any of our projects, or if you've got like a suggestion for something that we mentioned that you think there's something that we could do that would be like a better way of doing it, we're always open to receiving suggestions or questions in the comments. So feel free to write a message. And like we said, we try and link any relevant information like Ravelry pages, links to patterns, and if it's a commercial yarn, I usually don't put a link to, because there would be so many different places that you could buy a commercial yarn. But if it's a indie dyed yarn, I usually do link to the dyer. But yeah, I guess that's basically it for this episode. So we hope that the year 2024 brings you much happiness and crafting and joy and all of that. And we hope to keep bringing you our updates of all of our fibre arts and ceramics and all of that in 2024. But yeah, thank you for joining us, and until our next episode, which will probably, the next episode I think will be probably a knit and chat episode in a couple of weeks. Yeah, we wish you happy stitching. Bye.